Oh, there's a Beast Roar here. See, this is what I'm talking about. You see a Beast Roar player and you're instantly impressed. Knowing that that guy has Beast Roar is instantly impressive to me. That's why I want that title too. I gotta work on it. See how he moves into the gold circle? Move into the gold circle. The title Beast Roar comes from clearing the hardest equalized raid in the game right now, Helton, and doing it with a full party where there's not a single death in the entire party from beginning to end. I have the title for clearing it, which not a lot of people have, but he has the title for doing it deathless, which even less people have. If there are literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of characters in this game, and we can tell because of Loawa, the number of people who have Beast Roar definitely number in the hundreds of people. Hundreds. That's how rare it is. Oh, I can't save you. I'm sorry, I think you're dead. Oh, you're dead. You're very dead. Counter it! What golden circle am I talking about? Oh, it's sound wave vibration on my D skill. It looks like this. When you stand in it, it gives you a damage boost. You have to be standing in it. It's considered the small buff for Bard. This is the main buff right here, Heavenly Performance. They are the same buffs, so they can't stack together. So Bards have to smartly stagger them and kind of have an idea of when to use them. Yes, on my D. Well, that's how you know he's a Beast Roar player, because Beast Roar players have to know how all the synergy of all classes work. You just have to know, because the only way to pass that raid is by making use of synergy. Where can you find a character guide to a specific class? You can use Inven, you can use Lost Arc Tree. Those are all player submitted, but I think Reitier's document is the best new player resource for builds right now, since he actually puts builds in there that low skill point players can use. Is there a site where I could see what engrave should I go for when LA launches? Where's Ray's document? So there's another player here. Her name is Reitear. Unlike me, he stays out of the spotlight constantly. And he put together this document that's pretty good, actually. It's actually really nice. Look at that, 62 pages. He could really stand to condense this. It has a lot of meta builds for a lot of classes, including how to build it and what's nice about it, as well as multiple builds, including low skill point variations. So basically beginner-friendly builds. So definitely check that out. His Discord name says that he's not a personal codex, but literally if anyone asks him any question, it's in his nature. It's actually in his nature to respond to it. So definitely at him on Discord. But yeah, you'll find a lot of really useful information in here. In this game, there's a few tanky champs, and they were top of the ranks in 1v1 PvP. They're quite good in 1v1 PvP, but they're not. There isn't a 1v1 leaderboard. The leaderboard for PvP is only 3s, but there's a very dedicated. There's a very dedicated 1v1 scene for this game. Okay, let me explain this. So there's two types of PvP mainly. There's TDM and there's LTS. TDM is team deathmatch. It's 3v3, 3 people on one side, 3 people on another side, duke it out. And that's the mode that ranked is in. Then there's LTS, which is last team standing, which is 3v3, but they send one player in at a time. Because there's no rank for LTS, LTS tends to be a lot more unpopular, but because LTS is actually 1v1 and like very skill oriented, you can't rely on your teammates at all. There's a very dedicated scene of highly skilled players who spend a lot of time in LTS to learn matchups. There's no ranked for it, but people get really, really into LTS. Like the community there is super hardcore. They're also very welcoming and very friendly, or they tend to be very welcoming and very friendly, mainly because I think they want other people to play LTS too. Like, please come play LTS with us. Can you queue for these solo? Yes. Well, ranked TDM, you have to queue solo. You can't queue into it pre-made. And then for normal TDM, unranked TDM, and unranked LTS, you can go pre-made if you want. State of play ATM. Okay then. Where can I read the story, the lore, and the story for Lost Ark? I'm glad you asked. Here is my 40-page novella. This is the story of Lost Ark. Everything up until the start of the game. It's only 3 pages, so you'll be able to read it really quickly. Today, I actually went through and I replaced all of the names, all of the proper nouns in this, with all of the correct names in the North American and European client. So anything that I can find, some of them I couldn't find updated names, so they're still the Korean names. But pretty much everything that's a person or a place that I could find from the North American and European client, I replaced it here, so you know you could actually read it and it'll make sense when you see the name in NA and EU. So I can read this and not feel bad. Well, it only covers up until the start of the game, so everything that you skip from that point onwards is not covered there. It'll just give you context onto the world building of the game. Do you think we'll ever hit 7-7 on ARKs? I think we will pretty soon. But the director mentioned that after the story of the ARKs, the story of Lost Ark is not over, and also the world map is not complete. The world map will expand from what it is now. So they have a lot planned for what even happens. We have a lot of suspicions on where the story is going to make a twist. We have our suspicions on it, on what might happen based on some of the context we've received up until this point. Leaderboards for clearing raids based on speed. There's only a couple of leaderboards. One for PvP and one for like nightmare raids, which are equalized content. Like, most of the game doesn't have leaderboards. The Whaling leaderboard is not an officially supported one. It's on a third-party site. Like, here's this leaderboard for Nightmare Shotties. This raid is so equalized, right? It shows the item level of the people who participated in it for the fastest clear and the earliest clear. That you could see their item levels, but like, for that raid, that's one of the only ones that actually have a leaderboard. For that raid, you can only bring in 2 engravings, right? Look, they give you the full list of engravings at level 3, and they let you drag and drop which ones you want for it when you enter, and you're forced to use 340 skill points, and you have a limited amount of stats that you can bring into it. So like, anything that has a leaderboard that's like remotely competitive is going to be fully equalized. Was there an event boss? The boss that I was doing yesterday was an actual endgame weekly raid. This is just like a daily, like, chill Guardian raid that you do every day. Also, this is the first one of the tier, and the first one of the tier is always really easy. Skill point from Island Hearts for server-wide? Yes. Any skill points that you get from drinking a potion is server-wide. It unlocks for all of your characters at once. Their class similar to Destroyer. The closest thing you're going to get to that is pretty much Red Warlord. Gunlancer can out DPS other classes? They can. I was not exaggerating about that. Red Gunlancers are insane damage dealers. When I was in JP on my low-level Gunlancer, I had no problem taking damage MVP on it. No problem at all. It's a DPS class, trust. There's flashing on the mob? Yes, and in NA and EU, you have a photosensitivity mode that removes that flashing. It is literally the only region who has the photosensitivity mode. I'm still waiting for it in Korea. Still waiting for it. Somehow, NA and EU got a feature that I've been waiting for over a year to remove the flashing on these mobs when you hit them. You have a static raid group X server within the same region. You can raid with people that are on other servers, but you can't raid with other people that are on other regions. So if you're EU, you can't play with NA people. But like if your region has multiple servers, they're all connected for raiding and PvP and auction house. I've never actually seen this pets emotes, and now I kind of want to see them.